What's up, everybody? Jordan here, back with another episode of the Fitness, Food, and Freedom Podcast. This is episode 469 of the show, and I'm talking today about home gyms, something that, I'm super into and I guess passionate about because I've been doing it for so long. I'm going to talk a little bit today about kind of my home gym, journey or process in making my own gym here at home and the different ones that I've kind of had and developed over the years, and then kind of go into an actual guide for creating a home gym, things you need to think about. For equipment, I can give you maybe some favorites that I have in the gym as well for me, but this will be kind of the guide to making your own home gym for all you need for fitness at home. There's levels to this, right? And keep that in mind too as I go. Is like you can scale things back. I'll try to do that the best I can in this episode. You don't have to go crazy. A lot of it depends on your training style, your space, and what your goals are. If you just kind of want to work on balance, mobility, and some general strength, it's perfectly fine to just have a stability ball and a few dumbbells. That's fine. If you want hypertrophy, bodybuilding, it's going to be a little bit different. Powerlifting is going to be different. I'll talk about all that in today's show. I'm start getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but we're talking today about home gyms. Let's start at the beginning. I want to talk a little bit about my home gym building journey and how that kind of developed through the years. It started when I was in high school. A kid, I was 14, 15 years old, and my goal was to dunk a basketball. That was like what I thought was the coolest thing in the world. All I wanted to do, I had this buddy who we'd get together and like just train to jump higher, try to dunk tennis balls and all this kind of stuff. Wanted to dunk so bad for some reason, and I started kind of getting different training tools for that purpose. Whether they worked or not, that's a different story, but had some like special jumping shoes, had some, I DIY'd some hurdles with PVC pipe. That was some of my first equipment I ever made. And then when I joined basketball in high school, I kind of started getting more actual in my room type things. I got a pull-up bar, some push-up handles. That's about it, really. Maybe some hand grippers, some things like that. And then eventually, as that went on, started developing more DIY tools based on some good resources I found at the time, which was like Elliot Holst, Joe DeFranco, Jason Ferrugia, some of those OG fitness names you might not even know that were big into the industrial warehouse gym scene. So some of my first equipment that I had at the farm when I was a kid was sled drags or sled pulls, but my sled was a tire with a rim in it, and I would just kind of stack weights on top of it. Actually, when I started, I would stack softener salt bags because each softener salt bag was labeled as 40 pounds. We always had a big stack of them for a water softener at home. I'd haul those out to the field, and I would do sled pulls with a rope through the tire. And, I'd do that till I was sick or too tired pretty much. And then I started to squat because that was kind of a jump-based movement that was beneficial for basketball. And I started squatting with an old, standard 1-inch barbell with concrete weights that my dad had when he was in high school. So it was from, the 80s or 70s even. And I started using that. My squat rack was and this is very farm of me, but 2 55-gallon oil drums, one on each side. The weights I would set on top of the oil drum, bend down, stand up with it, walk back, and do my squat, set it back on. That was my first squat rack. So that's like the very stripped-down version of my first home gym, kind of built things from there. When I, of course, through college and everything, I used the college gyms. I worked at university, used their gyms, so I got great experience using really, really nice facilities and gyms and kind of became hungry for better equipment, I guess. When I lived in Texas, which was 2018 to 2020-ish, that time period, I had a gym membership because that was covered by my work, and that was only a few minutes from my house. I went there for the majority of my training. Once in a while, though, I would do some home gym training. And at that time, I had bought a barbell set that was Olympic weights and also a little Gold's Gym squat rack and kind of the cheapest one you can think of, bench press rack, a small bench, and I bought a pull-up bar from Titan Fitness and then a nicer bench. So I had like a good bench. I had a good setup there for barbell work and everything. So through that time, collected a few more little things of home gym equipment like kettlebells, dumbbells, things like that. Nothing crazy, some bands, straps, And then when I moved to North Dakota back to my home state in 2020, which was about 10 years after the oil barrels and all of that, or maybe even a little bit longer, maybe 12 years, I started really building out the home gym. I started in the garage, barbell, strongman equipment, some new weight plates, cardio equipment, stall mats, the whole shebang. Started building out that. Eventually realized when it came to be winter that it's much colder here than in Texas and needed to shift my gym over to the basement. So I moved everything downstairs and created kind of a more of a basement home gym, which allowed me to put in a few machines. I have a back machine, a chest machine that does a few different movements, lever arms, a nicer squat rack now, a whole cable station, functional trainer, if you will, and a leg extension, leg curl machine, plus all the dumbbells, landmine work, especially barbells, everything. I did a home gym tour on YouTube. It's the Stoltz Fit YouTube channel if you want to go check out a tour of each piece of equipment that I have. And I'll be posting more home gym stuff there as I go. I don't need to talk about everything for my setup, but I do the majority of my movements, of course, with the dumbbells and barbells and cables. Actually, I use quite a bit as well. The machines are there for a little bit better movements, and a lot of my stuff, though, is kind of based around the squat rack and barbells that I have because I'm able to do a lot of movements with different specialty bars and everything. So that's kind of my setup now. It's very extreme. I don't know the money I have into the gym. I did DIY a lot of the gym equipment. So a lot of the bars, a lot of the kettlebells, a lot of the strongman stuff, almost all of the strongman stuff I DIY'd. In fact, I don't think I've ever bought anything for strongman equipment. I've made it all. And the stuff that I've bought that was more expensive was like the 2 machines, the 3 machines with the leg extension, leg curl, chest press machine, row machine. That was all more expensive. And then the cable machine was expensive too. But I like that I can do multiple exercises on each one of those. And honestly, the squat rack and barbell and stuff didn't add up to much. It's probably a few $1,000 home gym, but nothing insane like some people have for price. I am kind of okay with a more rugged home gym because of the oil barrel origins, where I don't need fancy equipment and super expensive plates and all that stuff. My plates have rust on them. I have only 3 stall mats laid around. Like, it's not that pretty of a gym, but it gets the job done for sure. The first lesson I learned in my home gym experience was to take your gym in stages. So you don't have to go crazy all at once, right? If you're intimidated by the thought of investing in a home gym and putting that money in, don't feel like you have to buy everything all at once. You don't have to buy machines. You don't have to buy, cables. You don't have to even buy a barbell. You can start really small. Dumbbells, a bench, cables, whatever you want to do. Start small and build from there depending on your goal. You can kind of build upon itself. But I will say, and something that I've really learned, is that many home gym owners, including myself, make a mistake by just buying things that they read online or hear in an episode like this that are necessary for a home gym without first thinking about the movements they're going to do with them and the purpose of doing those movements. So I'll tell you what I mean. Here are some things I've learned in this process. One of them is the first thing you should do before you even think about building a home gym is go to a commercial gym. Train there for several months, at least 1 or 2 months. Go through a whole program and try out everything. See what movements you like, what movements feel best, especially if you're going to invest in machines. If you see a seated dip machine, you do that and then compare it to normal dips. Is that really beneficial for space in a home gym? Try a lying leg curl versus a seated leg curl because you probably won't have room for both in your home gym. Try different chest press variations, hammer strength, seated upright chest presses, laying down chest presses, try dumbbells, try barbells, try different styles of benches, try different shoulder press variations. You need to know what exercises you like and you want to essentially copy with your home gym equipment. If you don't really know, you'll assume you just need to do the barbell movements, which is what people say: squat, bench, deadlift. And that's a good start. It's a good base if you don't really know anything and you need to start a home gym now. But I think it's better to really figure out what variations of those movements feel best for you and then kind of start building from there. So another thing that's really important with that is to straighten out what your goals are. And I say this because I have equipment of all different varieties. Maybe that's an okay thing. I have strongman equipment, powerlifting, barbell stuff, bodybuilding, cables, machines, all that kind of stuff. That could be fine. I have a variety of stuff to do. For most people, though, if you really want to be efficient with your time and money and space, you need to decide first what your fitness niche is. What do you enjoy doing? What you want to accomplish? If you're going to compete, what are you going to compete in? And buy equipment around that, right? You need to decide, are you going to be more on a strongman kick? Are you going to be into powerlifting, lifting for strength? Are you going to be hypertrophy guy, you just want to get as big as possible? Are you just in general fitness, like some cardio, some general training for muscle retention and strength and building and looking good on the beach? Like, those are very different goals from each other and the equipment you need. Obviously, if you're a powerlifter, you don't need all the strongman stones and all that. If you're a bodybuilder, you probably don't even really need 500 pounds of weight plates or anything like that. You might if you're a powerlifter, though. All these things change up depending on your goal. So you first have to straighten out what your goals are. And then the key for your home gym is to find variations of movements for each body part or movement you like to do. So for example, and that's really what I did, before the example, what I did with my home gym when I built it out is like, this one here is like, how can I make 3-4 movements for each body part that I enjoy? And, we'll do pretty much forever in a rotation for my program. Maybe it's something like a squat. I have a barbell squat. I like the front squat. So I have a squat rack, barbells, weights. I have a safety bar for safety bar squats. And then a roller for single leg split squats. Those are some of my favorite leg exercises that I build around. And then you can throw in leg extension, leg curl in there. You got a whole workout you can do for legs. Maybe a better example is maybe something like chest. I have a straight bar for bench press, incline press. I have dumbbells for incline and flat press for dumbbells. I have a machine that's incline flat. I have cables for chest flies, dumbbells for chest flies, even lever arms. All these things can be variations for a body part, and you can kind of make endless combinations with movements you like to make a good program. So your first step in building a home gym, we'll get there. Let's build this out. If you want an epic home gym, right? And you can kind of stop whatever step you feel satisfied with it. Like, I just reached the point, like literally this month, when I got these 100-pound weight plates I talked about last week, where I feel like I have everything I could ever want for my home gym. I guess I would enjoy having like a leg press, but I don't really want to pay for one or have the space for one. I would enjoy having like a maybe like a belt squat or something, but that's just like a luxury item I don't really need, but it would be cool. I digress. Number 1 for steps, the things you need, probably no matter your goal, is you will need a bench of some kind. You're going to be seated for some exercises, laying down for some. A bench is super important. You need adjustable dumbbells of some kind. I actually prefer getting dumbbells before barbells, which is kind of something that's not necessarily recommended all the time. I prefer dumbbells because with adjustable dumbbells, you can do shoulder movements, lateral raises, rear delt flies, front raises, arm exercises like overhead extensions, bicep curls. You can do, if they go heavy enough, up to maybe 100 pounds per dumbbell or something. You can do chest presses, incline presses, shoulder presses, rows. You can do so much with dumbbells, even compared to barbells, I think, just not the big 3. If your goal is powerlifting, you would want to switch that to a barbell set first. So that would kind of be, and if you get a barbell set, you must get a squat rack as well. I like even just squat stands or a short squat rack. It doesn't have to be a full power rack. A full power rack would probably be better. that would be a good thing to have. And most of those will come with a pull-up bar with them. So then you can do your pull-ups and have an overhead bar. If you don't have a squat rack, you probably need some kind of pull-up bar, I think, so you have another vertical pull-back movement to do. But even with just a bench, dumbbells, and a pull-up bar, you can have an excellent physique program, great fitness with that. That's kind of phase one. Phase two is going to be actually a cable machine of some sort instead. And this is even before the barbell set. If your goal is hypertrophy, I would actually recommend a bench, dumbbells, pull-up bar, and then cables before buying a barbell set, which is usually the first thing people buy, because you can do so many exercises with cables that are great for hypertrophy. Chest flies, curls, tricep pushdowns, tricep extensions. I can go on and on because there's endless exercises you can do with a good cable station. I got mine from Valor Fitness. It was probably $600, something like that. It's a bigger chunk of investment, but you're able to do so much with it and just plate load it. And you're able to do a ton of exercises, great tension from cables, and you can pair those really nicely with dumbbells. At that point, I would get a barbell set too, if that's your next step, because nothing beats heavy loading, right? I'm talking hypertrophy for the cables. After cables, you need a barbell set, and if your goal is more strength or fitness, barbell set before cables, I'd say. To be able to do squats, front squats, overhead press, bench press, incline press, deadlifts, lunges, like there's so many things you can do with a barbell set alone and a squat rack. That would be something I would get. And you can find those online on Marketplace all the time too. So you don't have to spend big bucks on the barbell set, I don't think. A squat rack, I would get a good quality one from the start. A mistake I made with my gym was, the oil barrels kind of going cheap at first and building that as I went. Keep having to sell and eat the money on the squat racks you don't use anymore. Just buy a nice one, a good power rack or short squat rack, depending on your ceiling height, and go from there. Then you're kind of getting to the little stuff that hardly matters anymore, right? Because at step 4, you're talking like accessories, I think, are the next thing you could look at purchasing for your home gym, which for me was a good lifting belt, a TRX, like just suspension straps that allow a lot of exercises. Bands are good for different exercises. Lifting straps like Versa grips or just straight up straps. And then at this point, you kind of start customizing towards your goal a little more. If you are a power lifter, you might want to get like a deadlift jack because it's really annoying to load plates on and off all the time. If you're into bodybuilding, maybe you get more of the belts and wraps and that kind of thing. And then if you're a strongman, maybe you start getting more strongman equipment at this point. I actually wouldn't get that first. An underrated tool, which I'll really mention really quick because this does fall into accessories as the category for a home gym, is BFR straps. This is kind of something that is an underrated training tool for home gym people, especially if you're at the beginning stages, because BFR, or blood flow restriction, allows you to kind of restrict blood flow on your limbs, arms, legs, and essentially get closer to failure with lighter weight. So I could put the BFR straps on and achieve a great arm workout, same type of tension I need for growth with 15-pound dumbbells instead of 30-pound dumbbells. You're able to work with a lot lighter weights and bands and cables and things, which actually is great for home gym people because you're able to not load and unload so many weights and you don't have to worry about having a huge amount of weights for something. So I like BFR for home gyms quite a bit for arms and legs. You can get great work out of them. The next step is where you're starting to get like bougie stuff, luxury stuff you might not need, but you want for movements you like, which is machines, right? At this point, you could get different cable attachments, landmine attachments. If you're in a home gym, lever arms. If you don't have much space, you could hook those up to your squat rack. I don't really like my lever arms, to be honest. That's why I bought my machines, but they are space saving. So I do see the value there of making a lever arm be part of your home gym as different variation. That's why I first bought them, because I could do many movements with them. And then I didn't like the movements I could do, so I ended up buying machines anyways, where I bought a a rowing machine, not a cardio one, but like a chest supported row machine, and then a incline press and flat press kind of dual combo plate loaded machine. So I chose two I really like for the main body parts I would want to work. Like I said, leg machine would be nice, but they're so big, and I'm kind of fine with just what I have, and also fine with my leg strength and size. So I didn't see the need, but I did go for those, and I really like those. Again, try them at the gym, see what you like. I knew I needed a chest supported variation because I couldn't do that as well at home, and I liked having a machine converging type press that felt different than a barbell, which I could get into later. The last thing you would do is cardio equipment. I have nothing against cardio. I think cardio is an important part. I run probably 2 hours a week. I think it's an important part of fitness, but it's a little overrated in the sense you can just go outside for most of it. You can do burpees in your living room. If it's too cold, you could, I guess, find a treadmill in the marketplace if you really wanted, but you could just run outside. You could just go for a walk. You could just, get a bike and ride bike to work. Like, you can do little things throughout the day too that benefit you in cardio. You don't have to just go and splurge on a Concept 2 rowing machine right away, although that's the GOAT. So what you really need to think about, guys, is what are the movements you need to be able to do in the home gym? You need a horizontal press, vertical pull, horizontal pull, squat, hinge, maybe a carry, isolation movements for body parts you want to build, like curls, push downs, lateral raises, calf raises, all that kind of stuff. Those are the movements you need to be able to do, and the better your home gym is, the more variations you can do of those movements. Everything comes down to those patterns, though, and that's the important thing to realize. Is like, even if you can only do one, you get a barbell set, you can do one of everything pretty much, and that will cover you. Dumbbells will cover you for just about everything there. It just gets better and better, like a commercial gym, when you can do 3 variations plus of everything. Like, if I could do my horizontal pressing on the machine, dumbbells, barbell, and then incline for all of those, I have 6 right there. That doesn't even include my specialty barbells and things like that. So it really adds a whole new layer to your training and programming. The truth is, though, you only need the basics. You don't need machines, cables, BFR straps, all this crazy stuff to make progress. You can make progress just by hitting all those movements patterns like once a week and progressing in them. It just gets boring, and it just doesn't lend itself to perfect injury prevention and stimulus, which is kind of what I'm after. So if you can increase those things and improve those things, I think you should, because fitness is a lifelong thing. For me too, home gym is really about, enjoyment and adherence. It's like, will I be more likely to enjoy my flat barbell bench press for 5 sets, or jumping on a machine that's perfectly comfortable? I don't have to load it and get it set up. Like, it's more laziness, I guess, but it's enjoyment, and enjoyment brings adherence. So you need to think about what you're going to enjoy and adhere to. Now let's go through a few underrated things before I close today's episode. Underrated things I found that make a big difference in your home gym. I'll just plow through these quick because they're little things. Number 1 is a stereo. You need banging music. It's your home gym. You're not going to disturb anybody except maybe your neighbors if you're in a garage. Blast your music. Get a good bass, something to amp you up. Number 2 is heat and AC. Obviously, with my mistake making the home gym in the garage to start, it gets cold, right? And metal gets cold. And if it's way too hot too, like in Texas, I worked outside in a woodshed. Obviously, that's pretty much a sauna in South Texas. So heat and AC or fans go a long way. Like, make yourself comfortable. There's no reason you have to suffer in your gym. That doesn't really bring better progress at all. So put in that little heater, put in the AC, get something to make it more comfortable for you. Number 3 is good lights. You don't want, a dim, depressing gym. I mean, just nice overhead lights is a great thing to liven up the mood. I actually think a TV is cool for a home gym. That might be a controversial one, especially after I said I like the grungy, dirty gyms, but having a TV for the boring stuff is really nice. Like, I can come down during football games. Sometimes I'll just put on the football game, and watch that while I train. It's nice to have something to entertain you during rest periods. It can entertain your toddler if they're with you and you need that. And then for stuff like cardio, it's nice to have a TV. Next is attachments, meaning there's endless options for like cable attachments, landmine attachments. You can go crazy with those on different grips, variations of things like pull downs, rows, push downs, all that. You can get different attachments that feel great and kind of provide different exercises just by attachments. And then the last one is hardware knickknacks, which I just made a video on my YouTube channel on Stoltz Fit YouTube a while back. Hardware knickknacks go a long way. Things like little chains, little rubber drawer liner mats, bolts, like having a bucket of bolts around just for pins, pretty much. Having like wood that you can build stuff with, wrenches to adjust things. All that makes a huge difference. You can check out that video for more on that. But you can do a lot if you just have a few pieces of equipment. You can rig something up quick in your gym. In my opinion, I know I'm obsessed with this stuff, and this is maybe interesting or maybe not to you guys. It's just something I love to talk about. If you ask me about my home gym in person, I'll probably talk your ear off for at least 30 minutes or more about it. It's probably my favorite thing to talk about because I put so much time into researching about it and building mine out. I think it's a great investment, in my opinion. Fitness isn't meant to be for 12 weeks. It's not meant to be for 3 years. It's meant to be for life. I plan on training with all this home gym equipment out here. Maybe I'll upgrade some. I probably will upgrade some. I won't be able to help it. But I plan on training with it until, I'm 80, 90. Like that's 50 plus years down the road. I plan on using this stuff. It's not like I'm going to just sell it when I hit my goal, because the goal is kind of ever moving and it's more of just something you want to do. So if you're serious about fitness and you want to train at home, don't have time to go to the gym, or just don't like the public gym setting, build a legit home gym. If you have the space, make it epic and fun and enjoyable and something you'll stick to and look forward to going into. If you don't have a lot of space, there's great options for you too, like adjustable dumbbells, lever arms, foldable squat racks and benches for your garage. There's some cool options out there right now, and I'm going to talk about all of them on the Stoltz Fit YouTube channel, so be sure you go subscribe there. And I'll be putting out more home gym content. I think it's something that is pretty fun and can make a big difference in people's goals if they have the right equipment to support them for their own journey. That's it for today, everybody. Episode 469 of the podcast. Thank you for joining me for another show, and I'll talk to you later.